videos that I uploaded on YouTube so far. So I uploaded 2 other live streams today. In the first live stream, I talked about the first 30 YouTube videos I have uploaded on this channel. In the second live stream, I talked about video number 31 to video number 107. And in this live stream, I intend to talk about the last 40 videos that I have uploaded. So in this way, I would have talked about all the videos, all the long form videos that I have uploaded on this channel. And going forwards, I'll try to record one live stream in a week where I would talk about the work done in the preceding week. So whatever videos I have uploaded in that week, I will talk about it at the end of the week in a live YouTube live that I probably will schedule earlier based on the quality of the live streams and on the ease with which I can make these videos. So without further ado, let's talk about video number 108. We have stopped with the cochlear implant video, and if you haven't checked the other live streams, please do so. It might be a little bit laggy, but if you are patient, then you'll be able to understand what I am saying, and they are worth watching in my humble opinion. So let's start with video number 108. It was uploaded on 16th May 2024, and it talked about breaking the bad news of acoustic neuroma. Now, acoustic neuroma, as you know, is a benign tumor of the 8th cranial nerve, and it is a very important breaking bad news station because usually people don't have much symptoms, and when they find out that they have a tumor, they do freak out. So it's very important to break this news gently, and it's very important to be very professional in your approach. And if you check out this video, you will see me practicing with Dr. Prisa Ghosh how to break the bad news of acoustic neuroma to a patient. So this was uploaded on 16th May. On 17th May, I uploaded a video talking about how to solve and evaluate a sample test of listening part C. As I previously stated, listening part C has a unique challenge of listening to an audio and typing the answer without the benefit of replaying the audio. So you have to pay very careful attention when the audio is being played, because you can't play it more than once. On 18th May, I uploaded a video titled Searching for Job Vacancies for Doctors in the NHS. Now, I had made another video talking about how to apply for job vacancies in the NHS. So this was kind of a similar video, but again I provided examples of how exactly to search for jobs, which websites to look at, and how to negotiate the long process, because a job application typically in the NHS includes you providing personal information regarding your academic qualifications, your work experience, and a personal statement where you have to write stuff to prove that you are qualified for the job being advertised, and also stating clearly why you are applying for that particular job. So I talked about that in this video. On 19th May, and I started a series of videos talking about some mistakes, commonly made mistakes which should be avoided during MRCS ENT OSCE. I believe I made 3 such videos. I wanted to make one single video where all the mistakes could be included, but while there are limited correct answers, there are unlimited incorrect answers, and so I could not really imagine every possible error that could be made, but the ones that I could imagine, I talked about them in 3 videos. So a common mistake that I talked about is, if you ask about the family history of a patient and the patient says something like, I lost my mother to cancer, you can't ignore that remark. You have to respond to it with appropriate emotions. These are little things, but they matter a lot in the context of MRCS ENT OSCE. It may be the difference between passing and failing, to be really honest. So after that, I had uploaded a postgraduate ENT theory question video on CyberKnife. Now, CyberKnife, to be really honest, before I made that video, I thought CyberKnife and Gamma knife are the same thing, and it really adds value to the statement that the best way of learning is teaching. So when I tried to teach CyberKnife, I learned that CyberKnife is quite different from Gamma knife. So it's a definite, you will really enjoy watching the CyberKnife video, and please do feel free to check it out. On 21st May, this is video number 113, I uploaded another video talking about the mistakes people can make in MAND exam. Again, this is a theme, and on the same day I also made another video with the title "Don't Make This Blunder During MRCS ENT OSCE." So this was a theme. I kept talking about the mistakes that one should avoid, like the one I mentioned a little bit earlier. On 22nd May, I uploaded a video where I tried to provide some clinical scenarios based on Weber's test and Rinne's test and how to interpret them, because interpretation of Rinne's test and Weber's test findings in a clinical scenario, imagining a patient who has Rinne's positive bilaterally and Weber lateralized to right ear, what is the possible clinical explanation for that test result, is something which is something which I felt people should practice, and so I made a video on that, and it is a very commonly asked question both in MBBS evaluation as well as during post graduation and also in MRCS ENT OSCE. So after that, on 25th May, I uploaded a video talking about the approach to a patient with deviated nasal septum. Now, I did feel that this is something which I was teaching people, approach to a patient with deviated nasal septum, and I felt I should make a YouTube video about it as well. If not for anything else, then just to remind myself what I was teaching the students. This was from the point of view of how to teach MBBS ENT students, and it's a video worth checking out, I feel. The 120th, no, this is, yeah, the next video that I uploaded, this is very special to me. This was uploaded on 26th May, and many people have reached out to me and said that they really like this video. This video was titled "Don't Stigmatize Medical Students." This was video number 117. So in this video, I talked about the fact that when a patient goes to a medical college, they are understandably irritated by the fact that they encounter medical students. Now, as a patient, one does not want to talk too much to medical students for understandable reasons. But it has to be remembered that medical students can only learn to become doctors if they get a chance to interact with patients. Of course, with the full permission of the patient. So the right way to approach it, in my opinion, is medical students should introduce themselves as medical students, and then if the patient allows them to talk to them regarding their health, then they can participate in the conversation. So while there is stigma associated with the term medical student when a patient goes to a hospital, there is also stigma associated depending upon which medical college the medical student is studying in. So if somebody is studying in a premier college like AIIMS, they have probably less stigma compared to a government medical college, and subsequently if somebody is studying in a private medical college, maybe they have more stigma. The point is there should be zero stigma, because all medical colleges have medical students and all the medical colleges are governed by a single governing authority. If a medical college is running afoul of the standards that it is supposed to maintain, then they lose their recognition status, irrespective of whether they are government colleges, premier colleges or private colleges. And if you are a medical student in a medical college, if you don't interact with patients, if patients don't interact with you, then there is no way for you to learn. Of course, patients' safety comes first, that is of paramount importance, but if patients don't interact with medical students, then medical students don't learn. But that does not mean medical students pretend to be doctors and do something that they are not supposed to do. They should always introduce themselves as doctors and talk to patients respectfully only if the patients are willing to talk to them, and also try to avoid situations where time is of valuable importance, such as an emergency scenario, and usually these conversations should happen in the presence of a senior doctor. But at no point is stigmatizing medical students acceptable, in my opinion, whether it is due to whether they are from a private college or a government college or various other factors where people find it okay to stigmatize people. People find it okay to say things like, oh, but he purchased a seat. You might find it a harmless remark, but the person who is at the receiving end of that remark does feel quite bad. So, with that out of the way, the next video that I uploaded was titled "Do this during your long flight to MRCS ENT venue." This was the video number 118. It was uploaded on 26th May, and what I basically advocated is, if you are going to, now the manned exam of MRCS ENT OSCE is either held in Glasgow or in Edinburgh or in London or in Dublin. You can actually predict the venue of the manned exam, and there is a video titled "How to predict the venue of the manned exam of MRCS ENT OSCE." So imagine the venue is Dublin, which is in Ireland, and if you are traveling from India, you would have a long flight from India to Dublin. During that long flight, it is advisable, at least in my opinion, to watch a few Irish movies, because then you become familiar with the Irish accent. Okay, so this is what I had advised. If you were going to Scotland, then maybe watch a few Scottish movie or a movie with Scottish characters. So that was my suggestion. You can use the in-flight entertainment to familiarize yourself with the accent that you are likely to encounter. Okay, so after this, on 28th May, I uploaded a video describing the approach to a patient with chronic otitis media mucosal type. Again, this was created with a target audience being MBBS ENT students, because chronic otitis media mucosal type is probably the most frequently asked topic in MBBS ENT. So I made a video on that. On 29th May, I uploaded a video titled "How to avoid analysis paralysis in MRCS." Now this is from my own experience. When I first thought about appearing in MRCS, it was the year 2016. But due to a lot of analysis, my decision making process got paralyzed, and I ended up appearing in MRCS Part A in 2022, a full 6 years later. And one of the main reasons why you don't, why you may feel hindered to appear in the exam is because you may not have the right guidance. That is factor number one. And factor number two is, it is an expensive exam and it is a difficult exam. So lack of proper guidance, expensive exam and difficult exam, all these factors contribute in resulting in a person not taking the exam. But if you do take the exam, you have to remember that it is always a leap of faith, because you cannot, for any exam, guarantee that you will definitely pass the exam. All you can do is prepare honestly, earnestly, intelligently, with proper guidance, but there is no way to be certain that you are going to pass an exam until you receive the result which clearly states that you did pass the exam. So I tried to highlight this in the video titled "How to avoid analysis paralysis in MRCS." And to be really honest, the best way to avoid analysis paralysis is just book the exam. The moment you book the exam, a certain sum of money leaves your bank account, and that acts as a beautiful stimulant to push you to prepare for the exam. Now, okay, so next video was how to prepare for OET writing. This was uploaded on 31st May, and as I had previously stated, OET writing is the single toughest section of the occupational English test, and most people who fail in occupational English test fail because of OET writing. OET writing is particularly challenging because you have to create a letter which fits the criteria set by occupational English test. The paragraphs have to be logically structured, they should be coherent, they should adhere to a particular theme, and no irrelevant stuff should be included and no relevant stuff should be excluded, while creating a letter which adheres to the word limit as well. So I felt OET writing can be simplified into creating a letter which has some modifiable parts and some non-modifiable parts, and it's very important to memorize the non-modifiable parts. The modifiable parts, of course, cannot be memorized because they change based on the circumstances, but if you remember the non-modifiable parts, then life becomes slightly easier. But it is very important to read the writing task carefully. You have to understand the purpose of writing a letter to another medical practitioner. For instance, I had made the mistake of misunderstanding my writing task completely. My writing task was to write a letter to a rheumatologist to convince a patient that their disease was a rheumatological disease, not a psychiatric disease. Whereas I felt that I was writing a letter to a rheumatologist to continue the treatment I had already started. I completely missed the aspect of the clinical scenario where the patient was not convinced that her rashes were due to lupus. She was thinking her rashes were due to anxiety. So, it is very important to read the clinical scenario carefully and understand the purpose of writing the letter to another medical specialist. So, after that, on 1st June, I uploaded a video titled The Revolving Door of Students and Doctors. This is very interesting because we become medical students during when we first join medical college, and unlike certain uh, other educational situations, such as maybe in school, we would just pass from one year to another and we would just keep growing. In medical college, once MBBS ends, if you want to specialize, you have to work really hard to become a student again, because effectively a postgraduate student is a student, although he or she does have MBBS degree, but in effect, at least in the eyes of the patients, they are still students. So, you become a doctor after getting MBBS degree, then you work really hard to become a student again during post graduation, and if you want to pursue super specialization, then after becoming a specialist, you work really hard to become a student again to get the super specialization degree. So, there is a kind of a revolving door where students become doctors and then they work really hard to become students again, and then they become doctors again, and it just keeps going on and on. So, I found that quite interesting, so I made a video on that. Video number 123 that was uploaded on 2nd January talked about game theory. Now, game theory is basically a very interesting theory where whether two people cooperate or they defect is analyzed, and it has been noticed that if you are nice, that is you cooperate more often than not, but you are not a pushover. So, you have to be nice, you have to avoid being a pushover, and you have to be forgiving. If these qualities are there in a person, they usually flourish. So, this was explained with a lot of examples in the video on game theory, which was uploaded on 2nd January. So, 3 qualities that people should have: they should be nice, they should be forgiving, but they should not be a pushover. So, cooperate with the person till they start taking advantage of you, and once they start taking advantage of you, stop cooperating. If they notice that you have stopped cooperating and then they start being nice again, then forgive them and patch up. So, it is a very nice theory. It might seem quite obvious, but game theory has a very nice origin story, and I felt it was one of my better videos. Video number 124 was approach to a patient with chronic otitis media squamosal type. Now, squamosal type is not as frequently asked in MBBS ENT, especially in practical exams, as the mucosal type, but squamosal type is particularly important for postgraduate ENT students, and of course, squamosal type is the more dangerous type of mucosal, is the more dangerous type of chronic otitis media, and it requires careful understanding. So, I tried to make this video with the target audience being MBBS ENT students, and I hope I did justice to it. Video number 125 was a theory postgraduate ENT question on laryngeal reinnervation, and the interesting thing about laryngeal reinnervation is, while there is extensive literature on the various techniques one can employ for laryngeal reinnervation, based on the conversations I have had with senior ENT specialists, most techniques do not work. So, although it is a frequently asked question in postgraduate theory exam, it isn't something which has seen remarkable results in the real world. Video number 126, which was uploaded on 5th June, was on cranial nerve examinations. Now, believe it or not, cranial nerve examination is an important part of ENT examination, because apart from the olfactory nerve, the vestibulocochlear nerve and the facial nerve, which definitely lie in close proximity to vital ENT organs like the nose and the ear, most cranial nerves play some role or the other in ENT diseases. So, it is very important to know exactly how to examine each cranial nerve 1 to 12. And remember, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. So, you should be examining both sides. Video number 127 was uploaded on 6th June. This was the oldest surgical college in the world, and I guess it talked about the various Royal Colleges of Surgeons. The oldest surgical college, of course, is the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh, which was founded in 1501. Video number 128, uploaded on 7th June, was titled The Most Authentic OAT Speaking Practice Video. This is where I practiced speaking with my aunt, and it was a very well made video, although it did not receive that many views, but this is how you should practice OAT speaking with the cards and with the person in front of you. You give the interlocutor's card to the other person and you take the candidate's card, and you should practice speaking if possible. On 8th June, I uploaded a video titled A Walk to Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow. So, I had filmed my walking journey. I had stayed in a hotel which was at a walking distance from the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow, and I had filmed one walking journey and I uploaded that on YouTube. Interesting thing about the Royal College of Surgeons in Glasgow is that it is the one Royal College where the physicians are also there in the same building. In every other Royal College, it's only the surgeons, but in Glasgow, it is the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow. It's a fantastic building, and I strongly urge you to check that video out. On 9th June 2024, I made a personal video which was titled Why I Left Kolkata. Now, I did not, some people have criticized this video because I haven't explicitly mentioned in that video why I exactly left Calcutta or Kolkata. But I showed a clip of a scene from one of my favorite movies called Shimabodho. In that scene, the discussion is in Bengali, so some people may have not understood the discussion. So, most of the discussion centered around a person who is unable to find an appropriate job in Kolkata and finally leaves Kolkata because they get a job opportunity outside Kolkata. So, for me also the situation was similar. I did not get the right opportunity in Kolkata, and that is why I left Kolkata, a city I have nothing but warm feelings for. I spent 11 years in Kolkata, some of the best years of my life, and if the right opportunity presents itself, I love to go back to Kolkata to spend more time there. Video number 131, uploaded on 10th June, was titled Today we will talk about epistaxis. This is again, so apologies for the poor internet connection. So, I had uploaded a video on 10th June where I talked about epistaxis. Epistaxis is a very important topic for MBBS ENT students. So, I created a clinical scenario. I talked about a clinical scenario where there is a patient with bleeding from nose, and based on whether the bleeding is happening or there is history of bleeding, how you approach, what kind of questions you ask, what kind of examinations you perform, how you identify the cause, what is the stepwise management protocol for a patient who has bleeding from the nose. This was discussed in that video. On 12th June, I talked about how a question paper leak helped me become a doctor. So, before you get scandalized, I was not part of any scam, and I certainly did not engineer the question paper leak, but it so happened that when I was about to appear in the NEET UG equivalent exam at that time, it was a state entrance exam, West Bengal joint entrance exam in 2008. It was supposed to be held, I believe, on 20th April. On 19th April, it was found out, it was declared, just like NEET PG this time, just the day before the exam, it was declared that some issues had been identified, especially I think question paper leak was identified. So, the entire question paper was scrapped. The pattern was changed. I believe 80% was objective and 20% was subjective. a new pattern exam was created, and the exam happened, I think, on 24th May, if I remember correctly, in 2008. And because of this additional 1 month of preparation time that was made available to me, I was able to prepare well enough to get a good enough rank in the state medical entrance exam, and I attribute a lot of my success in the entrance exam to that unexpected delay. So I do believe the question paper leak helped me indirectly become a doctor, and the NEET PG exam has been postponed this year. I'm sure some people will benefit from that delay also, although they have nothing to do with the postponement, just like I had nothing to do with the question paper leak. So the video number 133, which was uploaded on 13th June, talked about this talked about the success of my MBBS ENT students. So 19 people in a batch of roughly 120 students got more than 75%, and I was really proud of that. All of them richly deserved it. In fact, I feel more people deserved it, but 19 people got more than 75%, and it really validated, it really made me feel that I know how to teach. So it was a very, very good feeling for me, and I talked about that in the success story 2 for MBBS ENT students. But I also highlighted the fact that one should not fixate too much on marks, because you are not your marks. Okay, you may be identified based on how good your score has been, and people will say all kinds of things, but marks are largely for the neighbors. You have to focus on what you want. You know yourself best, and you have to improve accordingly. The best way to do well in MBBS exams, I feel, is you have to follow the 5A theory. A for attend classes, second A, attentive in classes. So don't just attend classes for the sake of attendance, be attentive in the classes. Third is appear in the tests. Fourth A, analyze the questions, and fifth A, answer the questions. A very easy thing that people opt for is they don't answer questions. They think that if they keep quiet and not guess or not try to deduce an answer, the examiner will have mercy and allow them to pass. Yes, they will. If an examiner asks a difficult question and you don't try to analyze the question and answer it, you just keep mum, you may pass, but it's very unlikely for you to get a very good score. And it is of no use of knowing the answer and not telling the examiner. I have had students who have come out of the exam hall or the viva table, and when I asked them the question, they answered it correctly, but they did not answer it when the examiner asked them the question. So please don't do that. If you are able to attend the classes and you are attentive in the classes, you are appearing in the tests, you are analyzing the questions, you will be able to answer the questions also. And if you answer questions correctly, there is no way that you will be prevented from scoring well in your tests. So video number 134 was a doctor reacts to the NEET UG uproar. This was uploaded on 16th June, and in this video I talked about one very interesting thing. Of course, people have said many things, and there has tons of opinion on the NEET UG situation. What I noticed, and I was very surprised by, was 24 lakh people appeared in the NEET UG exam, whereas the number of students who appeared in engineering entrance exams is less than 24 lakhs. This really made me quite astonished. When I was a student, when I was 18 years old, I'm still a student, but when I was 18 years old, I distinctly remember more people were interested in becoming engineers than doctors. But now I believe the tide has turned, which is really heartening for me. Video number 135 was approach to tonsillitis. Tonsillitis again is a very important topic for MBBS ENT students. So in this video I talked about the various symptoms and approaches to management of tonsillitis. On 19th June, I uploaded a video which is one of the most popular videos of recent times, titled Greatest Novel of All Time. This is talking about a novel called The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Now, I found out about this novel by watching a random clip on YouTube. And when I read the book, I was so happy. So you can find gems on YouTube. I found this book on YouTube because I watched a podcast where this book was mentioned. It's an amazing read, and please check out my video where I talk about 5 takeaways from the book, The Brothers Karamazov, which is probably the best book written by one of the finest authors in any language, Fyodor Dostoevsky. Video number 137 were the 2 biggest challenges and how to overcome them effectively regarding MRCS ENT. So I talked about 2 major challenges that I did encounter and how I overcame them during my MRCS preparation. So the first challenge was the fact that the exam was very expensive. The only way to overcome that is to pay for the exams yourself. Please don't ask someone else to pay for the exams. If you can pay for the exam yourself, do so. And even if you can't pay for it yourself, the fact that the exam is expensive should not act as a deterrent, it should act as a motivator. It should motivate you to prepare so well that you don't have to appear in the exam more than once. So that is how I overcame the expensive part of the challenge. As far as the other challenge was finding a suitable practice partner. Okay, finding a suitable practice partner. To find a suitable practice partner, you can join. What I did was I joined a coaching program, Dr. Osama Salim's Dawn's Master Course, and I found suitable practice partners there. And I practiced with, I believe, quite a few people. Every single person I practiced with did extremely well, and they certainly helped me a lot in my ability to. In the fact that I passed the MRCS ENT OSCE owes a lot to the fact that I had incredibly talented practice partners. So finding a practice partner is important. I did not have anyone to practice with in person, but I practiced a lot with people on Zoom, and it helped me a lot. So if you don't have a practice partner in person, you can find a practice partner if you join a coaching program, and you can reach out to people who are also in the program, and most of them, at least one of them, would be willing to practice with you. Video number 138, which I uploaded on 28th June, talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and a doctor's life after post-graduation in India. Now, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is something which I have been aware of for a long time, especially since I started watching Economics Explained by the Australian economist. Maslow's hierarchy of needs basically talks about which needs come first and how we keep wanting other things and we secure the needs at a lower level. So the basic needs are the physiological needs for food, water, clean air to breathe. Then comes safety needs. Then comes a need for love and belonging. Then there are esteem related needs, both self-esteem and being recognized for the work you're doing. And the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, that is fulfilling your complete potential, which jokingly I refer to as becoming a YouTube content creator. And I tried to correlate that with how a doctor proceeds to build their career after completing post-graduation. So video number 139 was congenital disorders of larynx and trachea, and talked about posterior laryngeal cleft. This is the most recent video I have made on a theory question asked in postgraduate ENT exam. And posterior laryngeal cleft, believe it or not, is an entity I found out when I made this video. So I was not a very studious, I was not as studious as I thought I was during post-graduation. So I read about it and I made a video where I talked about the appropriate way of answering this question. On 21st June, I made a video which I'm really proud of, titled Dunning-Kruger Effect and the Next Steps After Passing MRCS ENT. Now, Dunning-Kruger effect is a very nice theory which talks about the more you know, the more you figure out that there is more to know, and paradoxically you become less confident. And conversely, if the less you know, the more you feel you do know, so you get a false sense of confidence. This is usually applied. This was originally meant for a specific skill. So say the skill of making YouTube videos. So I might be very bad at it, but since I know very little about it, I might think, oh, it's a piece of cake. But generally it is applied to an overarching sense of confidence, or you know, but it's not for everything. It's not general overconfidence. It is overconfidence in a specific task. And usually dumb people who are not good at a particular task are not aware of the fact that they are not good at it, and falsely believe that they are actually quite good at it when they clearly are not. So Dunning-Kruger effect is something which is very interesting, and I strongly urge you to check that video out. On 21st June, once again I uploaded a video called Practice with Pushpen Success Story 3. This talked about Dr. Prisa Ghosh passing MRCS. So I was very happy with that as well, because here I had passed MRCS, and Dr. Prisa Ghosh is the second person after Dr. Pooja Chatterjee. She is the second person who I practiced with after passing MRCS ENT OSCE myself. So I did tell her a bunch of things regarding how to approach MRCS ENT OSCE. Maybe she ignored most of it, but the fact that she passed really did make me feel vindicated. On 22nd June, I uploaded a video talking about my experiences with people from Pakistan. Now I have met, I believe, two people. I met two people originally from Pakistan during my travels to the UK, and I have had conversations with people from Pakistan related to MRCS, and I've certainly checked out many YouTube videos made by Pakistani content creators, which has helped me a lot in understanding how to negotiate the various steps in the MRCS journey. And I certainly have no problem answering questions related to MRCS irrespective of a person's nationality. I don't want to delve into the geopolitics of it, because of course that is complicated and I don't understand that as well as I should. I am not an expert in it, but the limited exchanges I have had, the very brief exchanges I have had with people from Pakistan, has largely been quite pleasant. On 23rd May, I talked about my 100% success rate and Glasgow. So I talked about how I met a Bengali person in Glasgow who was selling tech products, and I also talked about how everyone I have practiced with during MRCS ENT OSCE preparation, when I was preparing myself, and even after completing my own MRCS exams, I practiced with a few more people, and each one of them have passed MRCS ENT OSCE comfortably. So I have a 100% success rate, if I may say so. On 24th June, I talked about a book called Lord of the Flies, which is a fantastic book. It is written by William Golding, and it talks about a group of young boys stranded in an island and how they deal with themselves being alone. You know, a group of young boys, you would think they would be very innocent, but what do they end up doing on that island? It's a fantastic read. And it's titled, What Will You Do When You Know No One Is Watching? So we assume that boys are innocent, young boys even more innocent, but what happens when they know no one is watching, when their actions they think will have no consequences? So it's a fantastic read, and I strongly recommend that book for anyone who is interested in reading fiction, The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Video number 145 talked about lessons to be learned about air pollution from Charles Dickens. So I've come across various YouTube content creators who complain a lot about the poor quality of air in certain parts of the world. So I thought about stories about certainly London, as in Charles Dickens, as we have read in Charles Dickens' work Tale of Two Cities, I believe. He talks about how bad the air quality is in London, and this is Charles Dickens, so this is probably late 19th century or early 20th century. When I visited London in 2023, the air in London was extremely clean. So at one point it was so dirty that prominent authors like Charles Dickens were talking about it in their books, and now it is so clean. How did that happen? It happened through legislation. It happened through the collective effort of the society. If it could happen in London, I'm sure it can happen in other parts of the world as well. Video number 146, uploaded on 25th June, was on passing MRCS ENT easily and the steps that follow. Here, I had a conversation with Dr. Preetha Ghosh, who had recently passed MRCS ENT OSCE in May 2024, and we discussed the steps that follow after passing MRCS ENT. And she also discussed her perspective. On this channel, I have largely talked about perspective, how I passed MRCS Part A, how I passed MRCS ENT OSCE. But in this video, uploaded on 25th June, Dr. Preetha Ghosh shared her perspective as well. On 26th June, I previewed a book called Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and this is a book which I have finished reading half of it. It's a fantastic read, and I'll soon upload a video talking about the 5 takeaways from Crime and Punishment. It's a highly recommended book, and it's really, really well written. On 26th June, I uploaded a video titled Not YouTube Live. So I had tried to talk about the entire YouTube channel, my entire YouTube channel on a YouTube Live, only to realize that my internet connectivity was terrible. People started complaining. I had scheduled the live video about 24 hours or 12 hours in advance. Lots of people were waiting. People had logged in. People were asking questions. And most of the comments were, your video is lagging. We cannot hear what you said. Could you please repeat? It was a terrible experience. So I uploaded a recorded video, and it was titled Not YouTube Live. And frankly, I had given up at that stage, thinking that I did not have the hardware required for YouTube Live. And I still believe I lack the necessary hardware that is required for a good YouTube live stream. I hope it will happen with time. Please give me that opportunity, and I'm sure with time I'll procure the appropriate hardware to upload top-notch YouTube live streams. Video number 149 was titled MRCS ENT versus MSENT. Now this is a question that people have asked. This kind of harkens back to the second video I uploaded on this channel, why MRCS ENT after MSENT. But this video, MRCS ENT versus MSENT, is more of a choice. So if you have completed MBBS, and if you have to choose between MSENT and MRCS ENT, or if you are not getting MSENT due to any reason, then is MRCS ENT an effective substitute? Yes and no. Yes, it is also a postgraduate qualification. No, it is not recognized in India. So if you go the MRCS ENT route after MBBS, you have to be prepared to pursue specialist training in the United Kingdom. So if you do that, if you complete specialist training in the United Kingdom, you get the FRCS degree, then you become a consultant in the UK, and you can work as a specialist in the UK, a consultant ENT surgeon in the UK. So MRCS ENT has its own advantages, but it is not the same as MSENT. Video number 150 was the differences between clinical audit and clinical research. Clinical audit is a very important aspect of applying for jobs in the NHS, because almost every job application in the NHS has an entire section dedicated to clinical audit, and clinical audit is quite different from clinical research. In clinical audit, you basically try to determine whether the existing standards, existing guidelines are being followed or not. So I talked about that in great detail in this video, I think video number 150, which was uploaded on 30th June. On the same day, 30th June, I uploaded part 1 of So You Want to Become a Doctor, where I talked about how people transition from high school to medical college in 3 different countries, in the United States of America, in the United Kingdom, and in India. And I talked about the differences in each country. So in the USA, one has to go to college and then complete 4 years of bachelor's degree after high school, and then they join medical college. Whereas in the UK, there is no entrance exam. They go directly from school to medical college without an entrance exam. Whereas in India, we go from school to medical college, but there is an entrance exam. So in the US, there is an entrance exam, but you cannot go directly from school to college. In the UK, no entrance exam, and you can go directly from school to medical college, whereas in India you can go directly from school to medical college, but you also have to pass an entrance exam, which in India is called NEET UG, which of course is very controversial now. The next video that I had uploaded was titled, "So You Want to Become a Specialist Doctor." In this video I talked about the journey that medical students have to complete, the journey of a medical student from medical college through the various exams to become a specialist, so I talked about the scenario in the US, in the UK and in India. So if you join a medical college in the US, you have to negotiate the USMLE exam and then become a specialist after completing residency. In the UK, if you want to become a surgeon, then you have to negotiate MRCS, and in India, if you want to become a specialist after MBBS, you have to get a good rank in NEET PG. On 3rd July, I uploaded video number 153, where I talked about how to become an ENT specialist. Now, becoming an ENT specialist is particularly lucrative and very competitive in both the US and in the UK. It is not so lucrative, not so competitive in India thus far, but I am optimistic it will become so in the future. On 3rd July, I uploaded another video which talked about the various options available to someone who has completed MSc ENT or post graduation in ENT. Largely I talked about whether somebody should pursue further training. If they want to pursue further training, what are the options? I suggested fellowship, senior residency, or pursuing a formal degree like MCH, or even MRCS, which is largely a way in which people can get more training. Versus jobs. Jobs are available in the government sector, jobs are also available in the private sector. Jobs can be teaching jobs, jobs can be non-teaching jobs. I talked about the various pros and cons of the different options available to a person after completing post-graduation in ENT. On 4th July, I talked about triple NEET, which is a very popular video for some reason. Triple NEET basically talks about, there is a lot of uproar around NEET for good reason, and most of the uproar is focused on NEET UG and on NEET PG, which got postponed. But in fact, there are 3 exams with the acronym NEET in them, and all are related to the field of medicine. NEET UG is for getting entry into a medical college for undergraduate medical courses. NEET PG is for getting entry into a medical college to pursue a postgraduate course in modern medicine, and NEET SS, SS standing for super specialization, is an entrance exam which helps people pursue a super specialization course. For example, somebody who has a specialist degree in general medicine wants to become a cardiologist, needs to appear in NEET SS to get a seat in a college which teaches DM cardiology. So I talked about these 3 exams and how NEET UG is a pen and paper exam and NEET PG is a computer based test, while there is no formal computer training happening in medical colleges during MBBS. So I talked about that. On 5th July, I talked about the NHS, because the NHS was founded on 5th July in 1948. I talked about how the NHS came into being, what kind of healthcare existed in the UK before the NHS. I also briefly talked about the various issues plaguing the NHS. On 6th July, I talked about dark humor, and there was a picture I had clicked when I was traveling using the London Underground system of a skeleton waiting outside a dental office. And this was also a prominent issue in the UK general elections, I believe, where in the UK dental appointments are notoriously difficult to get. And there was this ad in the London Underground train showing that people had to wait a long time. A skeleton was waiting outside a dental office, so imagine how long they've had to wait. It was an ad from a Turkish dental clinic, if I am not wrong, and was clearly stating to the UK population, the London population more precisely, that if they needed dental care in a timely and efficient manner, they could consider going to Turkey. And even in a John Oliver video talked about how somebody in mainland Europe was treating a lot of patients who were traveling to get care from him from the UK. So almost 80% of his patients were from the UK. And this dark humor video was video number 157, which is also the most recent long form video that I have uploaded on YouTube so far. So today in 3 different live streams I have been able to cover all 157 long form videos that I have uploaded. Going forwards, I'll try to have one live stream every week where I will talk about the videos I have uploaded in the preceding week. So maybe I'll just talk about 1 week's worth of videos instead of 157 videos in one single day. Thank you so much for being so patient with me. I hope I was audible throughout the live stream. If there were any periods of lag or bad picture quality, please forgive me, because my internet connection is not as pristine as I would want it to be. But improvements will happen with time. Please allow me that time. Thank you so much for your patience. Take care. Bye bye. And please don't forget to be awesome.